Thank you, Senator. I really appreciate it. And the two themes that, if I'm confirmed, that I have for the FBI are really just going back to keeping it simple. One, let good cops be cops. 100,000 drug overdoses, 100,000 rapes, 17,000 homicides. That's only what 70% of the precincts reporting in. That is violent crime exploding out of control. We've got 38,000 employees at the FBI, and as I alluded to earlier, almost a third of them work in and around the Washington, D.C. area. Well, those crimes are committed out in the rest of America. And I'm going to let good cops be cops and put handcuffs on the bad guys and put child molesters in prison and put murderers in prison and make sure CCP fentanyl doesn't kill another one of your constituents. That's track one. Track two, to restore the trust in the FBI. That has degraded, not by my opinion, by the Gallup poll, that only 40% of Americans have trust and faith in the FBI. It is a cataclysmic failure in leadership to get to that point that did not happen over time. And so what the FBI must do while tackling violent crime and protecting Americans' national security and our sovereignty is work with Congress, Republicans and Democrats, to expose any government corruption, provide government accountability through transparency, and get you all the documents that you are the custodians of. The FBI reports to Congress. If I am confirmed as FBI director, I will report to Congress. And I will just save you with this one caveat here about my personal experiences with the FBI. The men and women of the FBI do the most courageous work on God's green earth. I was fortunate enough to utilize FISA 702 national security measures to prevent a shopping mall from blowing up in Houston and the state capitol from being attacked in California. Courageous men and women do that work every day, and these are cases you never hear about. Instead, the only things you hear about are the baseless conspiracy theories and attacks levied at me. Well, here's something for America. You can say whatever you want about me. If I'm confirmed, bring it on. But you will not denigrate the men and women of the FBI that saved this country.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And speaking of, I want to talk to you a little bit about how you're going to make sure that those men and women have the opportunity to get out and about throughout the country. And so when we look at that, obviously Huntsville, Alabama, to me is a Redstone. That's exactly right. Redstone Arsenal is a beacon of what we should look at, putting our men and women out amongst the very people that they serve. And so in my next few minutes, I certainly want to talk to you about that. I'll save it for the next three. But just finishing up on what's happening at our border, we saw under this previous administration that there were about, I think, 1.7 million special interest aliens that came across our border. I think the House Judiciary Committee put it out. That's obviously from the 26 countries that DHS determines have the greatest threat here in our homeland. When you're looking at how do you tackle that? So, they're in the interior. Additionally, the people on the terrorist watch list, the hundreds of people that have been released into our country. How do you man your men and women to go and find those individuals and make sure that our country is safe?
This is going to require a collection of law enforcement, what we call 1811 agents across the various agencies, specifically HSI and Secretary Nome are going to be prioritized with tasking and going after illegals to follow the law and the orders issued by the White House. But also at the same time, the FBI possesses an enormous amount of resources to go into our jails and find those already imprisoned and with pending deportation orders, with pending violations of their parole status. So if I'm confirmed, the full resources of the FBI, where appropriate, will be committed to that cause. But I believe primacy rests with other agencies.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Senator Schiff.
Mr. Patel, early in this hearing, Senator Durbin asked you about the January 6th choir of inmates whose song you promoted, and here's what you said. I did not have anything to do with the recording. I did not have anything to do with the recording. Do you stand by that testimony, Mr. Patel?
Senator, what I said was I didn't do the recording.
You said you didn't have anything to do with the recording, which is interesting because here's what you told Steve Bannon on his podcast. So what we thought would be cool is if we captured that audio and then, of course, had the greatest president, President Donald J. Trump, recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we went to a studio and recorded it, mastered it, digitized it, and put it out as a song now releasing exclusively on the War Room. We. If you had nothing to do with it, Mr. Patel, why did you tell Steve Bannon and all his listeners that you did?
That's why it says we, as you highlighted.
Yeah, and you're part of the we, right? When you say we, that includes you, doesn't it, Mr. Patel?
Not in every instance.
Well, that's new. So when you said we, you didn't really mean you. Is that your testimony?
Not unless you have a new definition for the word we.
Oh, okay. I always thought we included the person who pronounced the word, but maybe not. Well, you also said this, Mr. Patel. We were able to capture.
What a shady son of a gun. We say we when we say, for example, oh, we went to Iraq. We had to deal with that. We went to Afghanistan. We are doing bad. We are doing good. That in politics, what a shady politician. Shame on you. Shame on you.
The recording thanks to their courageous singing, and we were able to take it to a studio. So let me ask you, Mr. Patel, after saying we took it to a studio, did you take it to a studio?
Me personally, no.
After you said that we digitized and recorded it and all that, did you take it to a studio and digitize and record it?
Me personally, no.
Okay, so you were lying to Steve Bannon and his audience. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was using the proverbial we appropriately, as you've
the
identified.
royal we. Oh, I see. And so you certainly promoted the hell out of it, though, didn't you?
I don't know what that means, but I promoted the heck out of raising money for families in need.
With promotions on social media and saying you were going to get this to #1 on the billboards, right, Mr. Patel?
I think it did.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Isn't that great? People who violently attack police have a
this?
#1 song thanks to you, Mr. Patel. That's something to be really proud of. Now,
No.
you've claimed, Mr. Patel, you didn't know about any of these people in the choir. Is that right?
I did not know about the violent offenders, and I did not participate in any of the violence in and
tell
around
me,
January 6th.
Tell me, Mr. Patel, what due diligence did you do to find out who was in the choir before you promoted their beautiful music? These people who assaulted law enforcement. What due diligence did you do?
Senator, I didn't record it myself.
So you did no due diligence before you promoted this song by these violent felons. Is that what you're telling us?
Senator, I did not record that myself.
So you're being considered for director of the FBI. And here you did no diligence to find out whether people you were associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI? I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can.
These senators are so dramatic, so disrespectful, and you goddamn right, you don't look back. You tell him in his face to shut the
If you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them.
Are you okay with Biden pardoning his son after doing crimes? Are you okay with a laptop? Are you okay with that? Why the hypocrite? These Democrats, bro, they're the work of the devil. The devil is working miracles for himself by supporting this. The devils and the devil and the Democrats are the same thing.
That beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it.
How
I've
proud you
never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these
Oh,
men
no,
and women,
didn't
as you
accept
know,
it. You
my entire
glorified it in
life,
song,
and I did
Mr.
not make
Patel.
a single dime out of
In
it.
song. Well, let me.
How about you ask them
ask you
if I
this.
have
Let
their
me
backs,
ask you
and let's
this.
see about that
Let me ask you
answer.
this, Mr. Patel. Let me ask you this. If an FBI director,
Oh, I have to make a clip on this. That was the most legendary response. Ask them. How about you take a time and you ask the police people if they support me or not? He can't ask them because he knows the police unions love the Republicans.
promoted a song of people who sprayed pepper spray in the face of an FBI agent, would you say they were fit to be director?
Mr.
Yes
Schiff,
or no? Would they be fit to be director?
I am fit to be the director of the FBI.
If you were the FBI director and you promoted a song to someone who beat an FBI agent with a pole, would you say you were fit to be FBI director?
Mr. Schiff, I am fit to be FBI director based on my 16
And
years
yet
of
you
government
did all these
service.
things, Mr. Patel. You can say, oh, I support law enforcement. I decry violence against law enforcement. You can say all that. It's what you did, Mr. Patel, that matters. It's what you did.
Can you be a U.S. senator while you support Hamas, senator? Because you Democrats support Hamas. Can you be a U.S. senator because they're a group of terrorists? So should we jail you too? You know, that question actually is not stupid. Yours is.
That matters. Well, let me ask you about something else that you did, Mr. Patel. Did you claim that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago? Did you claim that?
In what proceeding?
To the public, ever, did you tell anyone that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago?
From publicly available information, President Trump issued a declassification order on a variety of
No,
materials.
I'm just asking you, did you tell the public, did you tell anyone, did you make the claim that Donald Trump had declassified those hundreds of classified documents that were at Mar-a-Lago? Did you make that claim
From my
publicly?
best of my recollection, I said President Trump issued a declassification order to a large number of documents.
Yeah, and were you present when he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago documents?
Senator, I'm not saying he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago documents. I said President
so now-
Trump declassified a large number of documents, and I would hope this committee and the rest of Congress would want to get those documents to the
And Mr.
American
Patel,
people.
Right,
Mr.
you-
Patel,
Idiot senator.
before
The senator is trying to catch him because if he says, yeah, I said that he declassified some comments, that he's going to block him before he finished talking. And then it's going to seem like that he's saying that Trump declassified the things that he did not declassify. These Democrats are just in the mission to destroy him. See, this is what the Constitution was meant. They're supposed to question him and trying to figure out if he's good or not. But it's politicized. Hey, I'm a senator. You're gonna be the FBI director. I'm gonna have to be working with you in this committee. What's up, buddy? Like, what's up? No, it's hey, you are the enemy, and I'm gonna bring you down. Shame of the modern politics. This is not what the founding father intended.
a president or anyone declassified documents, wouldn't you want to know whether making the public would cause sources to be killed? Wouldn't you want to know that before you just declare they're all declassified? Wouldn't that be the responsible thing for a president to do?
It was a responsible thing for us to do. That's why we declassified the Nunes memo.
And did Donald Trump
And no one
declassify-
died.
And did Donald Trump ever ask any of the agencies who produced those documents whether declassifying them would put people's lives at risk? Did he ever do that, to your knowledge, Kash Patel?
I don't know that he didn't. Do you?
No, that's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem, isn't it? So let me just ask, Mr. Chairman, if you would. Mr. Patel has said he has no problem. He would support the release of his grand jury testimony in that case. I would ask you, Mr. Chairman, ranking member, to join me in requesting, with Mr. Patel's approval, the release of those grand jury transcripts. And I would also ask Mr. Patel whether you support the release of Volume 2 as it pertains to you.
It's a dangerous job. I feel bad for him because, the Democrats can be back in 4 years or 8 years. This is a sad thing, but this guy, whoever becomes the director of FBI, whoever becomes a public official now, and I know a lot of people are applying to the job. I'm sorry, but these Democrats are not going to just end it there. They're going to come back after you. And you know what the Democrats do? They use the judicial system after you. So I do want to applaud these people that are going for seats and jobs and duties in the Trump's presidency, because they're risking their life, man. They're risking their life. The media is going to go after them. The media. The media, like Chris Rock says, the media and the Democrats are gonna go after them too. The Hollywood people are gonna go after them. It's not gonna be easy, man. You really gotta love America to do this, man.
Of the special counsel's report, any reference to you in the report, to your truthfulness, will you support the release to this committee of those sections of Volume 2 of special counsel's report?
I support following the law and providing whatever information the law requires.
Well, you said to the Wall Street Journal that you support transparency. Here's your chance, Mr. Patel. You support release of that to this committee, yes or no?
Your time's up. Before I call on Senator Tillis.
Yeah, time's up. But guys, we're live. We're looking at I'm just delayed like 2 minutes because I stopped the video, but I'm actually in fast speed, so I don't think we actually did it at all. We're not delayed at all, actually. So, hey, give it a like to this channel. Give it a like to the video. Double tap the screen like this. Tan, 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 and it goes up. It's going to go up. I only have 4 likes. And what you're basically saying is that you don't love America. You're basically saying that you don't love freedom. That now, when somebody from Trump's camp is going to come and lead an agency. By the way, Trump won the presidency, by the way, so show some goddamn respect. Now, they're going to go after them, and they're going to talk about, like, if they had a gum in high school, like if they paid for gum, what is the receipt? I mean, they're gonna go after all the receipts of their personal life, which is nonsense. But that's the Democrats right there in a nutshell for you. Please, I demand that you give me a like. I only got 5 likes. If I don't reach 12 likes in 5 minutes, I'm gonna end this video, and I just can't continue if I'm not gonna get the love. Listen. If I had a video right now talking about how Biden was the best president of the United States, I would right now have 100 likes. Because I'm going to tell you this. Those Democrats really do a great job in supporting themselves. I'll tell you that.
I have letters here from law enforcement groups representing 310,000 officers supporting Mr. Patel's nomination. And they'd be like the Association of Police Organizations, National Police Association, United Federation of Police Officers, Police Benevolent Association, United Coalition for Public Safety. I'll put these in the record. Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Patel, thanks for being here. I want to thank my colleague, Senator Welch, for being so measured and respectful in the way that he engaged with you. I just want to cover a few things, and I don't know if it'll take 7 minutes or not. I want to go back to the we versus I, since it was the last discussion. Other people may not have been paying attention. I've only missed Senator Booker's questions, but in your exchange with my colleague from one of my former states that I lived in, Louisiana, he repeatedly said you with respect to preparing a memo or documents, and you repeatedly said we. So you are somebody who's not like a lot of people around here that say I a lot, even though it was the we that got things done. So I, for one, appreciate how you focus on that. Now let's talk about how things change over time. I don't know if if the presidential candidate Clinton ever claimed that President Trump was legitimately elected. I know that Stacey Abrams never really, allowed or acknowledged that Governor Kemp was governor until the second time she lost. I don't know what's wrong with you simply saying that President Biden is duly elected. Now, I believe that Senator Welch is actually asking for a legitimate reason, but most people aren't. Most people are going to say, now we got you. Now we're going to create a wedge between you and the president and other people by using that word that they can absolutely exploit. So you've answered the question. President Biden was duly elected. I don't have any problem with saying he won because I certified the election along with so many others on January the 6th. Now let me talk about January the 6th. But y'all may not know this. I don't know if it's public. I can't imagine why it'd be classified. This was the room that we retreated to on January the 6th. I was the last Senate member out of the chamber. I was actually approached by one of the vice president's details saying it's time to go. Part of it was because I was really angry in a little way, wanted to fight, which was probably not a good idea. But what I saw for these people, and it's unfair to tell you to get up, order you to physically get up and turn around. It's a great tactic used frequently here in the committee, but you were right to engage the senator respectfully in a line of questioning. I looked at all the ones who were in the chamber on January the 6th, and they were heroes. I looked at the ones after I transcended down the stairs and went into the trains connecting the Capitol. Those heroes were bloody. They were bruised, and they were still holding the line, and we saw and heard people 50 yards away. Every one of those people in the Capitol, I've said, were thugs, and I don't apologize for it. They were either caught up in the moment and didn't do damage to a police officer, or they harmed a police officer, and I disagree absolutely and said it on the Senate floor with the pardons of people who did harm to the president. And I've had conversations with you that suggest that if you had been consulted on that, we'd have probably had a little bit different structure for the pardons, folks. This man understands what happens when the leadership of a law enforcement agency fails to protect their own. And I have to admit that in the last administration, I saw a commander-in-chief who looked the other way when you should have been saying the people who were mostly peaceful protesters in Kenosha with a building burning in the background, well, they had a righteous cause. So it's okay if they harm law enforcement or public safety officers. And when they damaged the federal building in Portland and they harmed police officers there, I didn't see anybody calling for arrest in the insurrection in those government buildings, federal buildings. Folks, let's be consistent because I am. I said it then. And
Man, those people that, like, if you're liberal, if you're a lefty and you destroy property, you're a goddamn hero for them. You're like a ninja. You're like a rebel with a cause.
I said it now. These folks are heroes. They got us to this room. We spent hours here, and they were so successful with securing this building. We went back the same day and finished our job. That only happened because of these proud law enforcement officers, and I know you would support them. Okay, let me take a breath. You answered the question on Section 702, but I have to refer to my friend Alex Padilla. We co-chair the Mental Health Caucus together. I love working with him. One of the problems around here with people who pretend like they're bipartisan, but they never do it when it's hard, is that they also make it more difficult for other people. When Section 702 was reauthorized in April of 2024, we had 4 or 5 of our members agree to walk the plank to make sure that and I didn't, by the way, because I wanted the reforms done. But I have to say, I'm glad that they did, because I just had a colleague say they were guilty of bending a knee. What they were guilty of is protecting this nation. Now, were they happy that the reforms weren't done? No. I've heard John Cornyn say things. Mike Lee's got a lot of, Senator Cornyn. They've got a lot of great ideas and we should reform it. But that's what's wrong with this place, folks. We just had somebody here try and do an offhanded hit on people that on a bipartisan basis reauthorize something that's critically important for keeping this nation safe. So I guess the inference is next time, don't do that. Be partisan. Go dark. Endanger the U.S. So come on, guys, let's be real here. If anything, I hope I've been consistent on. Let's just be balanced. You know, really, we've had colleagues on the other side of the aisle call President Trump an illegitimate president. Now, we have the witness has acknowledged that President Biden's election was certified. If you want to use a specific word, what are we in high school? I mean, come on. So I do have to tell you, though, Cash, I've hit bingo a couple of times. And I have a feeling by the time we get to the third round, we will again.
Hope you put a lot of money on it, Tim.
You know what? I put a lot of, I won't call it money, but capital on. It's the due diligence I've done on you and the extraordinary job you're doing in this committee. One of the reasons you're seeing frustration among people asking you questions is you're composed, you're respectful, you reached out to every one of them and asked to meet with them. They thanked you for doing that. I suspect that those conversations went a lot better than the TV personalities that we've seen today. So I've got 50 minutes. You want to wrap up on, and I'm going to come back for the second round. You want to wrap up on, let me just ask you this question. I went to the floor yesterday to make it very clear. I've been thanking these Capitol police officers, and I told them I actually thought that the partisan people who did harm to police officers sucked. And I told them that at every one of these security entrances when I come in, and I stand by it, and I respectfully disagree with the president or whoever likely gave him advice, because the president has to rely on best advice for some of these executive orders. But I make no apology for saying that the men and women on Capitol Hill that got us safely to this building are heroes. The people who harmed them are thugs, but they're out now. So here's their opportunity, Mr. Patel. You find the people that you were convicted of harming, call them, write them a letter, apologize to them. And if you don't, and you come to Capitol Hill, I will track you down and I will burden you until you do. Now I've run out of time. I'll be back for a second round.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Moody.
Well, thank you, Chairman. I appreciate that. And thank you for being here. I know this has been a long day. I am the junior most senator, so you know I go last. But ever since I got here, and it's been a whole week, I get told two things when I rush up to my fellow senators. Number one, are you Senator Britt? And number two, you know the Senate is a body that is deliberative and calm. And I'm anything but. So I don't know how the next couple years is going to look, but I hope that they'll bear with me. Serving as the AG over the last 4 years, I've seen a lot of things out of these agencies that I never thought we'd see in the United States of America. I know my fellow attorneys general around the nation would agree with me. In fact, some of them are here today to support you. I'd love to introduce them if they'll stand up. The Attorney General from South Carolina, the former Utah Attorney General, Sean Reyes. I'm sorry, Alan Wilson, I didn't say your name, South Carolina AG. And Louisiana AG, Liz Merrill. They joined me. Thank you for being here. They joined me in signing on to a letter supporting your nomination. And we did that while I was still the Attorney General over a week ago. They came here today to support you. And Mr. Chairman, I know that you've been referencing a lot of letters that you've been entered into evidence. I'd like this to be entered into the record. Sorry, I'm talking like a trial lawyer. With consent, please, sir. This is signed by 24 states attorneys general that support the nomination of Mr. Patel. One of the things that I have been most upset about is watching federal agencies take more and more and more power and step all over the dual sovereignty of state and local law enforcement and investigations and prosecutions. I know you, like me, served in both the state criminal justice system and the federal criminal justice system. I was a federal prosecutor, a state judge, and a state attorney general, and I know you crossed over those jurisdictions. Do I have your commitment as a director of the FBI that you will respect dual sovereignty of the federal government, the FBI, to pursue its investigations of federal laws, and respect local and state law enforcement pursuing violations of their own laws, even when there may be overlap of investigations?
Senator, not only do you have my commitment, if you may, for the first time ever, the National Sheriff's Association has endorsed a nominee to be the director of the FBI. 3,100 sheriffs, deputies across the country have endorsed me for one reason, I think, primarily, because I'm committed to local level law enforcement in state jurisdiction. Washington, D.C. cannot fix the problems of this country, but everyday cops can and do it every single day. And so if I'm confirmed as FBI director, we're going to work with local law enforcement because they're going to tell us what they need and we're going to give them everything we can. But we are not going to trample on local law enforcement because they're the ones keeping our communities safe just as much as anyone here.
The citizens of Florida will be happy to hear that, as well as Americans. As you know, after the second assassination attempt, which took place in the state of Florida, against a Florida resident, now President Donald Trump, many people were surprised that that could happen in just over 2 months. Many people were shocked that a would-be assassin could get that close to a president after it had just happened so quickly. So needless to say, many Americans, and certainly Floridians, demanded a transparent and accountable investigation of that second assassination attempt. I was tasked, along with law enforcement in Florida, to pursue that investigation. And every step of the way, federal law enforcement, the FBI specifically, and the federal attorneys, frustrated our efforts, told us we couldn't go on the crime scene, they wouldn't share evidence, they suggested that we would be violating the law if we pursued our own investigation, even in the face of us telling them and informing them that a 6-year-old girl almost died as a result of state and local law enforcement having to shut down the roads to pursue that would-be assassin, and I'm not going to use his name. In an unprecedented action, because of these frustrated efforts, I, as the Attorney General of Florida, had to sue the DOJ and Merrick Garland because they refused and obstructed our ability to prosecute and investigate our own laws against one of our own citizens, even in the face of such distrust of the FBI, who was pursuing an investigation against the victim himself. So at a time when you have data that shows that Americans' trust in the FBI is at its lowest point in history, when the FBI is not trusted by local and state law enforcement, can you think of a better time for the FBI to say, yes, Florida, investigators, come in, let's work this together, not to the detriment of the investigation, but in a collaborative effort? Can you think of a better time to have done that rather than hide beside some law that they said prevented us from moving forward with our own investigation?
Senator, off the top of my head, I can't, but let me just say this. Law enforcement is not supposed to be territorial. Law enforcement is not supposed to be a turf battle. Law enforcement is best done in this country when it's complementary, and it should have been done in that instance.
Do I have your commitment? Now, mind you, I'd like to enter into evidence the complaint that we filed against Merrick Garland, the complaint for declaratory and injunctive relief. This was a result of the FBI obstructing our investigation at every.
Guys, I'm gonna end it here, but I do tell you that it's very likely that this guy is going to be the FBI director. I don't think he's gonna get more than 60 votes. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he's gonna get more than 60 votes. And I think that that's because a lot of people are not gonna vote for him because they're gonna want to wash his back. They see him as dangerous, as an outsider, and the hate is on. The hate is on. They know that this is the agency that they have to protect, the Democrats, the deep state, because they know that this agency is the one that they can use as a weapon to go after Donald Trump, and they're gonna try to continue. So I look with more interest, with much interest. And guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you.